2021 Board of Trustee meeting. We will begin the meeting as we do with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. Our moment of silence tonight is twofold. First of all, we lost a 12-year-old student from Delhi Middle School a couple weeks ago, Malaya Jones. Malaya is survived by her mother, Ashley Cox, and her siblings, Gavin Jones and Charles Jones Jr. Services have been held. Also, Ann Rui Sala, mother of Peggy Schultes, Nancy Diddleberger, Rhonda Clawwitter, Dan Rui, Joe Rui, Kelly Rui, Mike Rui, Salvatore Sala, Melinda Sala, Scott Sala, and their respective spouses. Grandmother of 24 and great-grandmother of 54. Services are this week. Both will be missed by many, so may they rest in peace. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so very much. Okay, we will start with the approval of the minutes. Mr. Libby.
Motion to approve the minutes from the Board of Trustees regular meeting held on October 27, 2021.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, motion passes.
Motion to approve the payment of overtime for pay period ending November 2nd, 2021.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, motion passes.
Motion to approve bills for payment.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, motion passes. Report from the fiscal officer, please, Mr. Libby.
As far as significant transactions since the last meeting, we had a payment to Forever Lawn of Ohio for $59,000 for a payment on the new playground equipment in the park. We had a payment to Geiler Company for $20,000 for Station 33 chiller replacement. Midtown Health, $8,800 consulting fee for the rec center design. Turner Construction, $21,000 for pre-construction estimating costs. Bud Herbert Motors for $27,000 for 2 Exmark mowers and some parts. Dinsmore and Scholl, $24,000 for legal expenses for recurring services and the bond-related services. And our payroll on November 10th was $301,000. That's what I have.
Thank you. Okay, trustee correspondence. Trustee Seavey?
Yes, since this is the first meeting since the election, I'd like to take this opportunity to tell all of those who voted, thank you. And also thank you for your confidence in my re-election for the next 4 years. I look forward to the future for Delhi. We've moved a lot in the last 4 years, and I look forward to the next. I would also like to congratulate my fellow trustee, Mike Davis, on his re-election, as well as Bart West, Rich Happy, and Michelle Philpott for their positions on the Oak Hill School Board. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee David?
Thank you. And echoing Trustee Seavey's comments, thank you. Thanks to the voters. It's an honor. It really is something that none of us take lightly to be elected into a position like this, and we don't take it lightly, as you can imagine. And congratulations to you, Trustee Seavey. 4 years and 4 more years of good things coming, which rolls into my other correspondence. Obviously, the additions to the park, people are thrilled with that, and if you've not seen them yet, check out when you leave Delhi towards McDonald's, the new addition to the play area there is just incredible, and to be able to get it in, and even to drive here to the meeting, there's people up there playing as we speak, so good for that. And of course, I think we've all gotten other emails about projects and things going on in the township, but other than that, that's all I have.
Thank you very much. I'd like to acknowledge we had a ribbon cutting today for Revere Dance Studio. They opened a location up on Delhi Pike down the strip where Subway is, and they're very proud. This is their second location, and we wish them the best there. So welcome to Delhi, Revere Dance Studio. So thank you. So it's time for tonight, our special presentation, our oaths of office. Chief?
Thank you, Board of Trustees. First and foremost, I'd like to acknowledge the retired officers that are here that set the foundation for the police department. So retired Chief Tom Bauer, stand up. Retired Lieutenant Bob Chetwood. Retired Sergeant Jim Wergers. Corporal Frank Gentili. Did I miss anybody? We appreciate you being here and everything you did to make this an accomplishment for all of us in the department. So we appreciate you. Also, I'd like to acknowledge the Delhi Citizens Police Association. There's so much that we couldn't do without them. So if you're a member, could you please stand? And also, while we're at it, I'll mention Chief of Police Rick Bly from the second best township in Hamilton County, Springfield Township. No, we appreciate everybody being here on this occasion. What I'd like to start with, too, is another special presentation before we get to the promotion. So, Karen Hepp, do you mind coming on up? Karen Hepp started cleaning after the men and women of Delhi Police Department 18 years ago. She recently retired. She was 18 inches taller when she started, so about an inch a year. And 18 years cleaning up after us is probably like 50 years as a police officer, right? So we greatly appreciated everything. I mean, everybody that's been around the police department for 18 years, and the administration building, she cleaned also. Probably not quite as messy over there. But we miss you. Anytime you want to come back, please do. And we thank you for your service. I have a set of crystal sterling cut coasters here with the Delhi Township logo. We still got to get the top of the microwave cleaned. Never could reach it. Okay, the promotions today are the result of the retirement of Lieutenant Bill Murphy back in July. So with his retirement, that opened up a lieutenant's position, which ultimately opened up a sergeant's position and then a corporal's position. So with that, I'd like to introduce the new corporal of the Delhi Township Police Department, Adam Cox, and his wife, or whoever. Maybe in front here so everybody can see it. I do want to make note too, you see the stuff on his Chief Bauer since when? 1963. We've never had those. Never had them. We have them for the month of November, for No Shave November. So to bring awareness to prostate cancer, we're collecting money, and then we're going to make a donation, and then come December 1st, we'll be off. So this isn't the usual uniform. I know Adam's going to push for it, I know. But no, there's 13 officers, I think, that were able to do it. Some we couldn't because we just can't grow people. Adam began February of 1997 with the Delhi Township Police Department. In February of 2010, he was given a preferred assignment in investigations. He served back there in investigations for over 11 years. He did all the CVSAs, which is kind of comparable to a polygraph test, processing crime scenes. If you go out, you can join us afterwards. He can talk about scenes he did. Did a lot of great follow-ups on a lot of great cases and put a lot of serious people in jail that are still there and will be there long after us. So we appreciate that. He returned back in patrol in January this year, which he has now been promoted to corporal, so he's serving as a patrol corporal on night shift. So with that, we appreciate it. Adam, if you'd like to introduce your family.
Yeah, I'll try to make it quick, which usually isn't my style.
No,
we got a lot.
We got all day.
So this is my wife, Joanna, and thankfully she's my rock and willing to deal with my grumpiness for night shift. And then my son, Liam, is here. He's 17 years old, and then we have my 18-year-old stepdaughter, Ava, and my 15-year-old stepson, Will, and I have my father, Glenn Cox, retired Cincinnati and Hamilton County PD, and his wife Fran, my uncle Bob. I got my cousin Pat, my cousin Brian, my cousin LJ, and my sister Sarah and her little one Ziggy. So if you hear the baby crying, sorry, that's us. And also her husband Jeremy. So I got quite a lot of family. No, just Uncle Bob, close enough.
All right. With that, Trustee Sturts, if you want to face that way, the words will be up there, make it a little easier. The camera, so smile. Mike.
I, Adam L. Cox,
I, Adam L. Cox,
do solemnly swear that I will support
do solemnly swear that I will support
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States of America,
of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Ohio,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Ohio,
and the resolutions of the Township of Delhi,
and the resolutions of the Township of Delhi,
and I will faithfully and impartially discharge
and I will faithfully and impartially discharge
and perform all the duties
and perform all the duties
incumbent upon me as a corporal
incumbent upon me as a corporal
of the Delhi Township Police Department.
of the Delhi Township Police Department.
So help me God.
So help me God. She's been wanting to do that. Appreciate it. And thanks to retired Chief Bauer for hiring me, otherwise I wouldn't have gotten this money.
Do you have anything to say about that, Chief? You okay with it?
No, good job.
Okay. All right. Sergeant Joe Goddard. Yep. Joe Goddard is being promoted to sergeant. He began his employment with Delhi Township May 28, 2013. He was a police advisor, explorer, for how long?
Since I got here.
Yeah. Then he was promoted to corporal, the rank of corporal, back in November of 2018. He serves as the department's TAC officer, which is big responsibility as far as RCIC and the information, the criminal information coming in on our computers. That's a big task, and one that I'm glad he does a great job at. Police Explorer Advisor, he's also a field training officer, he's also a crash reconstructionist officer. And we appreciate Joe. He's going from night shift corporal to second shift sergeant on the road. So with that, Trustee Sturts. Would you like to introduce your family? I'm sorry.
Sure. Mom and Dad, Russell and Kim, my wife Maria, who's expecting a
And,
baby
yeah.
girl. Thank you. My sister Ashley, my Aunt Debbie, Aunt Lori, my in-laws Jane and Larry, and my, of course, grandma Judy. You have to sit with me there.
I, Joseph A. Goddard,
I, Joseph A. Goddard,
do solemnly swear that I will support
do solemnly swear that I will support
the Constitution and laws of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Ohio,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Ohio,
and the resolutions of the Township of Delhi,
and the resolutions of the Township of Delhi,
and I will faithfully and impartially discharge
and I will faithfully and impartially discharge
and perform all the duties
and perform all the duties
incumbent upon me as a sergeant
incumbent upon me as a sergeant
of the Delhi Township Police
of
Department.
the Delhi Township Police Department.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. retired Lieutenant Bill Murphy is Rich Schmaltz. And his wife, Jen. Would you like to introduce your family before I start?
My wife Jennifer, my daughter Ava, son RJ, son Owen, my mom and dad, my sister Michelle in the back with her husband Rick Fly, the chief of Fairfield Township.
All right, thanks for coming. Rich began employing with Delhi Township Police Department October 9th of 1996. He was promoted to corporal in January of 2014. He was then promoted to sergeant in January of 2016. You're on 2-year terms now. And then he serves as a department range master and armorer, which is a very important case also to keep everybody up to date on firearms and good working order on the firearms. So with that, Trustee Sturts.
I, Richard J. Schmaltz,
I, Richard J. Smalls,
do solemnly swear that I will support
do solemnly swear that I will support
the Constitution and laws of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Ohio,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Ohio,
and the resolutions of the Township of Delhi,
and the resolutions of the Township of Delhi,
and I will faithfully and impartially discharge
and I will faithfully and impartially discharge
and perform all the duties
and perform all the duties
incumbent upon me as a lieutenant
incumbent upon me as a lieutenant
of the Delhi Township Police
of
Department.
the Delhi Township Police Department.
So help me God.
So help me God. Thank you.
I'd just like to thank the trustees for allowing this to occur in these promotions and appreciate it. And also the last thing is Karen, I know these 3 gentlemen put together a real nice party for you at the senior center after this. So feel free to go over there and enjoy your party. Thank you.
At this time, if the families and friends who came for the promotions would like to leave to start the party, feel free to. Otherwise, you can stay. I'll give you some time to dismiss. Congratulations to all of you. You're welcome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to proceed with the meeting. All right, we have our public hearing on Public Works. Mr. Luby.
We have a motion to approve the opening of the public hearing for the 2021 road repair contract with regard to assessments of the cost of the sidewalk, including that portion of the driveway within the sidewalk easement and the driveway aprons as part of the curb improvement against abutting property owners.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes, motion carries. Okay, Mr. Ripinger.
Thank you, trustees. This public hearing is to notify the residents of the final assessment to the abutting properties for sidewalk and apron repairs completed in 2021. The letters that were sent out a few weeks ago had all the information along with the final assessment amount. 30% of the property owners have already paid their bills, and a resolution will fall at a later date to allow the township to send the outstanding amount to the county auditor. And that information that was in the letters also at the hearing at our administration. So we did have one of our employees at the admin in case somebody did show up for the hearing.
Okay. Is anybody here from the public to discuss this? Okay. So we have a motion then?
Yes.
Motion to close the public hearing for the assessments of costs of the sidewalk, including that portion of the driveway within the sidewalk easement and driveway aprons as part of the curb improvement against abutting property owners.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, motion passes. Thank you for all that work. I know it involves a lot of paperwork and so on and so forth. Okay, community development, we have a hearing request.
We have a motion to approve the opening of the public hearing for Mr. Ray E. Earls Jr., appeal of Resolution 2021-179, declaring nuisance for accumulated debris at 5378 Palisades Drive.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, motion carries. Okay. Okay. Welcome, Mr. Earls.
Hello. Is this on?
Yes, it is.
I'm coming here to contest the order. When it was posted, the items that were mentioned in the complaint were in compliance when the agent posted them on my door. That was a Wednesday. I followed up with a phone call, and he further threatened me to, if I didn't have everything on my property in compliance, he would remove them on Friday. And quite honestly, this is inflammatory and unnecessary for a township employee to use that kind of language to a tax-paying member of the public.
Okay. Mr. Earls, actually, it's all been resolved. The issue has been resolved. As of this morning, we noticed it was gone.
Yeah, well,
So-
it was resolved when they posted the notice on my door. And I think it's a nuisance that they did so.
Okay.
But I have other things that I want to mention.
No, it's only about that. That's all we're going to talk about, is that this nuisance and that the abatement that was voted on is you're trying to appeal it. And
Yes,
that's
I'm
all we're going to
appealing
talk
the fact
about.
that I am appealing the whole process because it's violating my right to quiet enjoyment of my property.
That's not what we're here for. We're here for the.
Do I have to make a legal case out of this then? For you to
It's been
hear?
taken care of, so there's really not a case to be made. If you would like to speak at some time when it's public comments, you can, but that has nothing to do with getting the abatement, what's the word we're using, repealed. I mean, that's what we're here for. The extraneous information around it has nothing to do.
I'll stay and bring it up in new business because the process by which this happens is absolutely fraudulent and lacking in its
That's what we're not here to discuss at this time. If you'd like to fill out a public comment, you would have 5 minutes to discuss it during public comments, if that's what you want to discuss outside of
Do
this.
I just attach this to my public comment then? I have a printed document for you to be submitted as,
Yeah, we can take it. We can attach it to it, but you need to fill out a pink form and submit that. But do you have anything to say other than, your neighbors thank you and the township thanks you for resolving the issue, the nuisance?
all right. I'll just wait.
Okay. Do you have any other comments regarding this? Okay. So do we have a motion to close?
Motion to close the public hearing for Mr. Ray E. Earls Jr. appeal of Resolution 2021-179, declaring nuisance for accumulated debris at 5378 Palisades Drive.
So moved.
Seconded?
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Do we have another motion at this time then, Mr. Libby?
We have a motion to move Resolution 2021-191 after the closing for the hearing. Request to appeal Resolution 2021-179.
So moved.
Seconded?
All those in favor?
Yes.
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 Technically, you need to add the resolution to your agenda because it's currently not on your agenda. If you want to repeal, it's on that, it's not on your agenda.
I'm sorry.
That's if you want to add it, you would need to add the resolution to your
So
agenda, I
we're
think.
adding it,
technically.
that's the motion, we're
Yes.
adding it.
Yes.
Sorry, okay, we're adding it.
A motion to add Resolution 2021-191 to the agenda.
So moved.
Seconded?
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, okay, motion carries. Resolution.
Resolution 2021-191, resolution repealing Resolution 2021-179, declaring a nuisance for accumulated debris at 5378 Palisades Drive, and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I will second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution, Mr. Dillon? No? All right.
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Libby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes. All right, thank you. Community development, do you have any report? Nope.
I'm later on.
You're later on? Oh. Okay, sorry. Fire department, jumping right in there. I'm moving. We're moving along.
We have a motion to accept the voluntary resignation of part-time firefighter EMT Kevin J. Barkley III, effective November 21st, 2021.
So moved.
Seconded?
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, motion passes. Best of luck to you, please, or to you, Kevin, in your future endeavors. Thank you for your service to Delhi. Okay, your report, Chief.
Yes, I'll just start quickly with our community risk reduction program that encompasses all the preventive activities that our firefighters do when they're not making emergency details. Number one being the fire safety inspections in the businesses in Delhi Township. We've seen an average of about 40, 50 a month now. We really were gangbusters here in October. And again, these stats reflect in October 96. So I appreciate all the inspectors getting out there and kind of wrapping things up for the years and making it safer for businesses. We are slowing down in our CARES consultations. It's just a reflection of the advocacy that we have. Maybe just not enough runs where we're having people introduced to the system. So that has kind of cooled off for a while. Nothing outrageous, but you can see the CPR classes are again starting. So those in the community that are interested in a hybrid CPR class where you learn online and then come to the firehouse for a practical test out with one of our instructors, it's on your own time instruction, and it does make it a little bit easier for folks getting certified in CPR. Moving on to the operations. We are on par with the number of fires that we had in 2020. Not much to reflect in October specifically, a couple car fires. And again, our EMS services are up. We are total for the year 6.6% over 2020 numbers. We are almost above 2019, which is the highest number of run volume that we've seen in the history of the fire department. So certainly we're up there. Things are returning back to normal in terms of our calls for service. And again, the thing I always like to point out is response time. Time of call to the time we show up, 4:56 for the month of October. Do you have any questions on it? And I'd just like to summarize, just thanks again for Kevin Barkley's service. He was with us for a short while, but he did accept a full-time job with Pierce Township in Claremont County. And so working here and going to medic school was going to be pretty rough. So we're happy he's focusing with them. Thank you.
Trustee Seavey?
No, thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. Parks and Recreation, no agenda items, but report.
Sure. Our new playground is open.
Yay.
Yay! Trustee Davis mentioned that earlier. We're excited about it. We did get our first reimbursement back from Hamilton County for $150,000. So just as the public is aware, we do try to get grant funding to help with as many projects as we can. We are going to be starting the installation of cameras here in the park. We do have temporary cameras up right now. Signs have also been installed in the park to let the residents know and those visiting the park that cameras are in place. Our fall sports seasons are wrapping up, and our park is starting to get winterized. So you probably see less picnic tables and everything else out in the parks. So that's Delhi Park. Storywoods, same thing. We're winterizing the park, getting it ready for hopefully a short winter. Our Sip and Shop was a big success last Friday. Thank you to everyone that came out to that event. And continue to follow our website for more information, and also watch our trustees meetings, as we have a lot of events at the end of the meeting. And we are still looking for employees. So, and that is a quick summary of the parks, unless you have any questions.
Greg, I'm still getting requests about restrooms during the winter for people who walk the park. So if I think you talked about winterizing one of them, and the porta potty was going to stay.
Yeah, we're actually going, porta potties will stay, but we're actually keeping the middle restroom open during work hours.
Okay.
Now, if the weather is really bad, we're just going to keep it shut during the day. But we did put heat and everything in the middle restroom, which is by the new playground. So they can go in there and they're cold, warm up too, I guess. So besides, use the restroom.
So the middle restroom.
It will be open.
Thank you.
During work hours, like you
During
said.
work hours,
During work
yeah.
hours, not evening.
Because we do have an issue with people breaking in the evenings. We don't have a resource officer anymore, so we do have problems with vandalism when staff does leave. So it'll primarily be open between 8 and 3, but it's dark at 5 o'clock anymore.
Well, that was a regular request, and I think that this is good that we're
trying.
getting there.
We're starting those big steps.
Thanks, Greg.
Yep.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Trustee Dennis?
No.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, Police Department, tonight, no report, but.
No. Really nothing jumps out on our statistics for the month compared to September. Pretty much all the same. Did go up in criminal reports, as you can see a little bit, to 80 from the 58 in September. We're pretty much tracking the same as last year, COVID year. The other thing I'd like to mention, if you have any questions about that, feel free to ask. The other thing I'd like to mention is during this time of year with the leaves and people raking leaves and cutting grass and mulching them, get complaints about them thrown out into the roadways, county roadways and township roadways. We just ask you to, that's very dangerous. Not just for vehicles when they get wet, but motorcycles. Yeah, a lot of motorcycles might not be out there because of cold weather some days, but some days they get a nice day, they're out riding, and you're blowing those leaves, grass out into the roadway, they get wet and they get very slick. So we just ask you to keep that in mind when you're taking care of your yard.
Sounds good, Jim. Thank you.
No, thank you.
No,
Thank
thank
you.
you very much. Appreciate it. All right. Public Works, we have a resolution.
Resolution 2021-184, resolution approving change order number 1 to the contract with Atleta Construction for the Delhi Township Rehabilitation and Repair Project 2021-A, declaring an emergency, dispense with second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on the resolution, Mr. Recruiter?
Thank you. This is just wrapping up the 2021 road project, something we do every year in the Mount Verno Forest, which River Watch area. And we finished out the project a little over 100,000 to the good. So we'll put that to the next project.
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Libby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes. Resolution passes. Report, please.
Yes.
The houses are coming down.
Yes, that's where I'm going to start. Let's see, the wraparound flood mitigation project. Currently, we have 3 more houses to demo. One is actually waiting on some utility work, but it's moving fast, and if the weather holds out, I don't think we should have a problem getting those done this year. The project deadline is approaching the end of the year to actually close on houses, so I could maybe see us acquiring one more possibly, but that would probably wrap up the project.
And are there people still looking for places to move that are interested?
Yes, we have a closing, one more coming up, and then other than that, I really don't know if anybody has found anything.
making an extension if that's the issue.
That's it on the extensions.
That's it.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
The Bandana Duke project update. Restoration on driveways, sidewalks, curb, and roadway has started. They're going to the same thing with that. They're going to keep continuing as long as the weather holds out, and just let the trustees and residents know we do spend a good amount of time making sure everything gets put back right, and have a lot of meetings and paint markings on the street and sidewalks. So it's moving, and hopefully it stays nice out. Let's see, our road crew, currently we're down one person for a few weeks, and the park's going to help us out as needed for snow removal, and that's nothing new. We always help each other out throughout the year, whether it's snowing or not. So, the conveyor for the salt dome has been brought up by Hamilton County, and we're helping them put salt in the dome for the upcoming season. And we're also working on stormwater repairs when we can. The fleet mechanic is working on salt trucks as much as possible, and Mike is working on the service and repairs to ambulances and cruisers, which is tough to keep up on, but they probably get the most mileage throughout the township fleet. And Fair Road, let's see, that's scheduled to be finished December 9th. We're hoping it gets done a little sooner. It is only closed during daytime hours, and we haven't gotten any phone calls, so it hasn't been creating any problems. They're moving fast. That's all I have.
Trustee Seaton?
No, I'm good. Thanks, Ron.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Okay, administration, resolution?
Resolution 2021-185, resolution amending resolution number 2020-228 to modify requirements regarding service payments in lieu of taxes pursuant to section 5709.74 of the Ohio Revised Code and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution, Mr. Cameron?
This is following up the TIF resolution that was done, I believe it was last year. We're changing the word shall to may. So we may collect the service payments where before it said shall, so that was the intent that we weren't going to have to collect the service payments. So it's just changing one word in the resolution.
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Libby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2021-186, resolution providing for the adoption of post-issuance compliance policies and procedures for tax-exempt obligations and continuing disclosure obligations, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this
I
resolution.
second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on the resolution, Mr. Cameron?
So with the bonds that we sold last week, which are to fund the project, they come with different procedures we have to follow, post-compliance, some reporting obligations, and then with the tax-exempt bonds, there's some other obligations we have to put in place. So these are for the bonds we just sold and will have our possession to use.
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Libby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2021-187, resolution entering into a design services contract with Brandstetter Carroll, Inc. for Delhi Town Square architectural and engineering services, authorizing the township administrator to execute the agreements, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution, Mr. Cameron?
So this is our architect on the project, and one would say, haven't we been doing something all along? We have, but until we had the bonds issued, we couldn't do the whole project cost with Brandstetter because we didn't want to encumber the funds. They were okay doing it in pieces leading up to this. So this is our architect, Brandstetter Carroll, on the project, and this will be committing to the whole cost for the architecture work, which is $2.33 million.
I I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Libby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes. Resolution passes.
Resolution 2021-188, resolution entering into a management agreement with Health Fitness Corporation for Delhi Town Square Recreation and Cultural Arts Center, authorizing the township administrator to execute the agreements, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution, Mr. Cameron?
Similar to the Branstead or Carroll action you just took, Midtown Health, which is now Health Fitness, we were waiting to commit to their management agreement until we had the pieces in place and knew it was going forward. So this has literally been sitting on my desk for 10 months waiting to be teed up in a resolution. So Health Fitness, they will be the operators of the fitness component, recreation component, cultural arts, the programming outdoor. So they're going to manage the center based on what we want to see it to be. And they've been consulting with us up until this point on the facility and what it could be and the pro forma for the fitness center component. They'll manage the pool and the time in the pool, so this has just been waiting to be put in place.
Thank you.
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Libby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes. Resolution passes.
Resolution 2021-189, resolution entering into a consulting agreement with Focused Capital Solutions LLC through December 31st, 2022, and dispense with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this
I
resolution.
second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution, Mr. Cameron?
This is Focus Capital Solutions, Mr. George Glover, who we use to work with state level folks, lobbying, so to speak. So I think he's been doing that on our behalf for quite a few years, and his engagement for next year.
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of the resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Libby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes. Resolution passes. You have a report, Mr. Cameron? There we go.
I do. I figured everybody else did slides, so I might as well. I'll keep it as brief as possible. One of the things that I think is pretty monumental, we issued bonds last week for $28.5 million. And that is both tax exempt, which is our ability as a local government entity to do tax exempt bonds, and we had to do it some taxable because of how we're going to operate some of the components we have. But overall, the rate we got for the 30-year financing was 2.65%. That's pretty good. We were happy with it. It beat our models. It didn't come in way under our models, but it did come in slightly under the models we were using to figure out how to fund the project. So really good news. That was very anxious to get to that point and actually see them get bought. So that was a good thing. As far as the project goes, mobilization happened Monday, at least the beginning of it. So you might have seen some of the orange barriers go up and kind of frame the site a little bit. As far as getting out on the site, Turner's finalizing their grading and site work contractor and pricing, so they'll come to us with a guaranteed maximum price for each piece of the project, and then they'll commit to that. That's just how the structure of it works. So we're still waiting to get to that point, and just with the drawings being done and other things moving around, we haven't been able to nail it down. So as soon as they do, they'll be able to give us that information. One note, we're obviously not in our normal location. Our elevator broke. Diane broke our elevator, Karen's compadre, in helping clean the building. So it does, I haven't gotten the estimate back, but it looks like it will be down for months to get repaired, and it won't be a simple little repair. So we will be here for the upcoming time. And just to have some pretty pictures, we have renderings, and I don't know how easy they're going to be to see, but Dan can maybe incorporate them later. This is our building, if you have not seen it. This is the north face of our building, still the north face, different vantage points. It will have landscaping and other components that are part of it. This is literally just the building being rendered. This is the south face of the building, where you'll have really the entryways and the parking field around to the south side. And there's, as you can see, they've kind of labeled some of the stuff. But the one side, I think we're going to be able to have kind of a relief in the tilt-up concrete for the pool that actually says Delhi on it. We were concerned that might be a little expensive, but it wasn't that bad. So that's what I got for you.
Thank you. Trustee Seavey, any questions?
No, good, thanks. Good job on the bonds.
I worked really hard at it. Told everybody to buy.
Bye. Okay, good.
And we have a lot of papers to sign. All right, thank you so much. Community development, we have a resolution.
Resolution 2021-190, resolution authorizing a contract with Hamilton County Regional Planning Commission for professional and technical zoning services pursuant to RC 519.16, authorizing and directing the administrator to execute the contract, declaring an emergency, and dispense with a second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I will second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution, Mr. DeLong?
Yeah, this is an annual contract we do with Hamilton County. They help us with mapping. They help us with mailing labels. We don't have GIS here. It's still a lot more inexpensive for us to do it this way than purchasing GIS, which would be about $2,000 a year. This is costing us a couple $100 a year for their services. They did raise their prices about 60 cents across the board, though, but it's usually pretty quick work we get from them.
Perfect.
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of the resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Louie, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes, resolution passes.
I'm telling you, this must be the month of Thanksgiving because we had no nuisances tonight. You did not notice that, did
No,
you?
I
Oh my
did.
gosh. This is like big news for us. Just some community development numbers. You can see across the board, our nuisance numbers have kind of started slowing down a little bit, partly because we're not taking anonymous complaints anymore. But we are still sitting at 1,025 year to date. Our zoning certificates, these are for people that come in and get decks, fences, sheds, permits, things like that. Our number is up at 275, which broke last year's record at 243, or 272, so we're really happy about that. And the valuation, as you see in the right-hand corner, is about $14.9 million in investment. And that's just stuff we track. You know, there's still things that the county sees that we don't see, which actually would have that number a lot higher. So it does show people are investing in Delhi Township. Just some quick development news. We just have issue a zoning certificate for Lefty's Tobacco Plus. They're over at 5132 Suite B, Delhi Pike. That's a former Sally's Beauty. But unfortunately, next door, Judd's Pizza closed earlier this month due to just some staffing. It's a lot of businesses that we know are struggling with finding employees. So they closed their location here. They were just renting the space there and they're rebuilding up on Harrison Avenue. So. And then just some projects right now underway. You know, the former Central Hardware, I was off since Thursday, came into work today, and I was like, oh my gosh, they're putting walls up now. So the demolition is pretty much wrapping up. A clean sweep car wash is going in pretty quick. Blue Ridge still under construction. Sisters of Charity still have their office building under construction, and Jack mentioned Delhi Town Square, and I just kind of boringly said mobilization, so Jack made it a lot more fun. Residential developments under construction right now. We only have 9 remaining lots over at Greenside Estates. This is a 31-lot development, so things are moving quite well for them. And we still have 4 approved buildings over at Garden Grove. There has been questions about Heather Ridge, which was a rezoning case we had a year ago. They're hoping to close up on that property later this month, so they can hopefully early next spring start on that 19-lot development up there. And that is all I have, unless you have any questions.
No, good. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Okay. Now we have public comments, and we do have Mr. Earl, let's go on record, Ray Earls at 5378 Palisades Drive. Mr. Earls, you have 5 minutes.
I'm just going to read my points that may not be germane, but you can consider them. I feel the township, with their abatement procedure and the complaint process, the way it's handled currently, is interfering with the owner's right to quiet enjoyment of their property.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
They're interfering with owners' rights of quiet enjoyment of their property.
Okay, thank you.
Owner wishes to assess the rights of due process going forward. Should anything come on trustee meetings or agendas that the owner should be, it affects the owner, they should receive a notice that that meeting is going to take place and know about it before it just appears and you get a letter saying that you made a resolution. Because that's what's happened in the past. There's no notice to the resident that you're considering a resolution. I also request that if the Delhi inspector wants to come on somebody's property, if the owner requests it, they should bring the Delhi police with them. Anytime somebody comes on anybody's property, everybody always has the right to ask the police to come to intercede on behalf of both parties. And somehow the inspector doesn't believe that when I request that that's a valid request. And it is lawful. So they need to work on understanding the law as it pertains to that. Maybe you can discuss it with the chief of police. If any inspection finds a defective code or violation, currently they send a letter giving a 7-day notice to correct it. I don't know, is that 7-day notice a rule or is it at the direction or discretion of the inspector? Is there a law that says that they have to give just 7 days? Mr. Pacheco?
Yes, there is. It's statute 505.87.
7 days.
Yes, sir.
Okay. But the 7 days starts the date they make the letter. It's postmarked 2 days later, and it gets to the house the day after that. So you end up with 3 days to comply when you finally get the notice. They should send a registered letter or post it on the door and then write on the date that they serve it, and that should start the 7 days. How can you do something in 3 days when you may or not be already busy with other plans? After a hearing, if you guys rule on it and you pass a resolution, then I would assume you would then send a letter in writing to the resident letting them know about the resolution, whether they're there or not. And I would imagine at that point, I would think you would at least explain to them that if they don't agree with your resolution, they have the right to appeal it to the Hamilton County court system for further adjudication. Because that is the right to anybody. This is not the final court on your resolution. I bring all these things up because in 2015, you did this to me and you did it very improperly. The inspector came on my property, fraudulently represented to you the condition of my property, and I have a copy of it in my complaint, and you passed a resolution attesting $800 to my taxes, which I didn't know about until a year and a half later because I was arrear in my taxes. Personal issues, not going to go into any of that, has nothing to do with the actual facts. During that improper intrusion on my property, they destroyed my garden. They damaged 2 garden hoses with weed eaters. They destroyed my compost pile. The hoses that they cut were in high ground at the edge of the fence. They had clearly been sprayed with Roundup, and it was showing that it was wilting, so it was already being remediated by me. There was weeds coming out of my bricks in my deck, and they weeded those, and they cut 3 pots that I had impatiens in and damaged those.
You have a half a minute.
They cut down my garden completely, and the hillside that they said was too high had just been cut the day before, and there was still some grass on it that was from where the mower hit it and it came back up. They didn't have to do anything, but yet they did. You charged me $800 for that. You added $300 for the township for administrative fees. If this was a public employee working on the budget of the township, then attaching another fine to that is actually double jeopardy to the taxpayer.
Sorry, your time's up. Is that everything you want to say in your attachment, Mr. Earl?
Yeah, I was just asking for the board to consider and review that case from 2015 and consider some kind of reimbursement, because it just wasn't due process.
All right.
Thank you.
Mr. Pacheco, you have
Thank you for
something to
the
say?
time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Sturt. So, just for a couple points of clarification.
Microphone?
Does that help?
Yeah.
Maybe not, now you can hear me. Couple points of clarification. I started as law director, I believe, January of 2018. And one of the things I looked at was how you guys did nuisances. And you did an excellent job. You followed the statute. Problem is that what Mr. Earls is talking about is not provided for by statute, nor is it provided for under case law. First of all, under the statute, and again, if Mr. Earls has a problem with the process, he needs to address it with the General Assembly. You're just following it, okay? This is a state statute that we're following. So that's Revised Code 505.87, which is in all of your nuisances. And this board has, unfortunately, plenty of experience passing nuisances because that's what they have to address under state law. But under 505.87B, you don't have to provide any notice to any property owner before you're going to take action in terms of characterizing the property as a nuisance. That's point one. So Mr. Earls claims his due process rights are being violated. They're not, at least currently under Ohio law, under Ohio statute. You gave him at least 7 days notice before you abated. And by the way, in this case, you haven't abated at all. So you didn't even take any action for which he's complaining about, or at least that I understand, at least with respect to the 2021 action. Second point is there's no appeal. This is a legislative determination. There is no right to appeal. There's a 2021 case out of Henry County, which is north and west of Columbus, in which the property owner made the same arguments into court that Mr. Earls is making now. A, I didn't get a hearing before you trustees, in this case passed a resolution. The court said you don't have a right to a hearing. B, I have the right to appeal. The court said no, you don't. It's a legislative determination, not an administrative determination, so you don't have a right to appeal. The common pleas court or any other for that matter. The other thing that trustees do that they don't have to do is provide Mr. Earls a hearing here as it did earlier tonight. Public hearing to challenge your nuisance determination. And you don't even have to do that. That's not required in the statute. So you've actually given him more process than he's entitled or due under the state statute. Now, Mr. Earls said that the condition was not, or the conditions did not exist at the time that the resolution was passed, but we have pictures on October 6th. We had Mr. DeLong confirm to you, as he does with every nuisance resolution. We went out and looked at the property. It's in the same condition as the photograph. He says that every time, right? Because he knows what his job is, and he knows that he has to do that for you to be able to provide the evidence to pass as the resolution. So again, this board followed every process, and in fact gave more process that was due or owed under state law, under state case law. So I just wanted the board to hear that side. Mr. Earls can make his points, and that's fine, but they're not accepted by the state statute or by this recent case called Grater, G-R-A-T-E-R versus Damascus Township Trustees, which can be looked at at 2021-Ohio-1929. Unless the trustees have any other questions for me. I was impressed coming in here in January of 18 how you guys handled your nuisances, quite frankly. It's a model for how other townships should handle it.
Trustee Stevens, any question?
I would prefer that we overperform and give the residents every opportunity that they have, and according to what you just read, we are doing that.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Dennis?
No, the one thing that stood out was the, you give the 7 days, and with mail being what it is and everything else, you literally might get it the day of. And I don't know, that to me doesn't sit too well, and I don't know how that resolves, or if that can resolve, or maybe that there's some extension on that or whatever. But, for people who are going to try and make the adjustments and before it comes to us and before they hear their address broadcast across the township, is that something that we can look at, or how does that work?
One sec, please, Jack. So 2 points to that. One, thank you, Mr. Davis, because Mr. Earls did make a point that is accurate under the statute, which is under 505.87E, it's 7 days after notice. It's not 7 days from the date, it's 7 days after notice. Regardless, in this case, it doesn't matter because we didn't abate it anyway, so it doesn't matter. But Mr. Earls is right in the sense that the statute says it's not 7 days from the date you make the declaration, it's 7 days from the date that he gets notice, okay? But it didn't impact anything that happened here. That's number one. Number two, with respect to whether or not somebody gets notice or not of their particular property, again, the statute doesn't require it. We sent out a notice before, and I know that's part of the packet, but it looks like the complaint was sent on 9/24, there was an informal order, so that's 3 weeks before you guys passed your resolution. That was sent to Mr. Earls. That gave the deadline of September 30th. Nothing happened. They went back out on October 6th, took the photos. Nothing happened. Came back out on October 30th before you, and that's when something happened. So, to your point, Mr. Davis, it is 7 days after they get notice, not from the date of. And you also get notice of and now Mr. Cameron had a question or a point, so I'll defer to him at this. But you also post the agenda. The agendas have the addresses of the folks that are being looked at for nuisances, and I think that is posted at least I don't know how long before the actual agenda meeting.
Yeah, and so the 7 days is statutorily after you pass your resolution that it's posted before we can abate it. So that's the 7-day mark, and that does go certified. Those all go certified, but Brian and I had worked on this previously when I was in Clear Creek, because this was something new to me then. And an important component to me is, in fact, the due process. And you noticed you had a nuisance come off your agenda literally at 4 p.m. today, because Greg called me and said, oh, they took care of it. And I said, I'm taking it off the agenda because I don't want it on the agenda. I don't want you to have an action that's taken care of. So that's an important thing for me, to not put somebody's property on your agenda that's taken care of. But back to how it's handled on the ground by Greg and his folks, there's contact made when first of all, we act on a complaint. Somebody's called us and said, hey, this property, high grass, accumulated debris, etc. So we act on a complaint basis. We go look at it, and then we make contact, or attempt to make contact, before we start anything. Then, if we can't get anywhere with that, there's an informal letter, it's a letter, or, hey, you got till this date to do something, and then we're moving forward with the process. So there's several times to try and get somebody to comply, or at least understand what's going on with it. And I can tell you if there's a callback that says, you know what, I'm waiting, I've had, my truck broke down and I'm taking it here, okay, we'll give you another week, or whatever it is, to some point. So those are all important things to us. So I can tell you, I hammer on Greg, due process is the way we're going to handle these things. So when this gets to your agenda, we've done as much as not humanly possible, but as much as really is responsible to do, and not put somebody in a position that they're not aware of.
One comment for something he said is that the dates that they sent me notices, I thought they were separate events, because every time they sent me a notice, I tried to correct the things that I thought were wrong with my property. The big problem is, all you send out is a form letter that says, statute this, statute this, statute this. You don't actually list what's wrong. What am I violating? Is it this, is it that, is it the high grass, or is it waste in the yard, or is it, you have to look through the whole statute and say, well, am I doing this, am I doing that, do they consider that this? Why don't they just specify what's wrong?
Do you have a copy of that, Mr. Pacheco? Is it stated?
So the September 24th letter says township nuisance regulations define debris as the accumulation of garbage, trash, filth, junk, scrap, and other discarded materials. And fair to do so, or to remove or bring the property in compliance with result in action. Then, look at the actual notice that was posted, and the actual notice that was posted on October the 18th, I believe, had everything listed.
It was specific.
The specifics, yeah.
But that's way after they sent the first notice telling me that there was something wrong with the property.
And that's the procedure.
Correct.
So
You
they
get a
don't have to
second
tell you
notice.
what's wrong with the property, just that you're in violation of the statute.
They have to give you notice, which is what they did on October the 18th, of why your property was declared a nuisance, yes.
And all they do is list the statutes.
No.
They don't say specifically what's wrong.
No, I'm looking at the October 18th letter, and it says including but not limited to refrigerator, grocery cart, and other debris on the driveway.
And all that stuff was taken care of by the time they posted it on the door, because it was scrap that I was taking, and it was raining that week.
So, well,
Okay. Well, it's taken care of now. We're not disputing that point.
It's just process I'm questioning though.
and again, all we just simply say is, we follow the statute. In fact, we do more than what the statute provides. And again, there's a case, again, right out of Union County from not more than 3 months ago, not immunizing, but giving a clean slate and approving how we do these.
Thank you.
Thank you for your
Thank you
time.
for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here, your patience. Okay, we have announcement of community events. Please, Mr. Luby.
The High Branch Library programs events, in-person homeschool book club sessions. Wednesday, November 17th, the book title is Pippi Longstocking by Astrid Lindgren. On December 15th, the book title is The One Thing You'd Save by Linda Sue Park. The groups will meet in person from 1 to 2 p.m. The appropriate ages are 8 to 12, and registration is required. In-person event, Kids Holiday Craft, will be Saturday, December 4th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Enjoy making holiday crafts with your family and call the library for more details. The Delhi Business Association Christmas Parade is Saturday, December 4th at 9:30 a.m. Join your neighbors on Delhi Pike for some Christmas cheer. Contact the Delhi Business Association for more details. Delhi Township Parks presents Delhi Holiday Market, handmade for the holidays, Saturday, December 11th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's at the Delhi Senior Community Center on New Road. Call the Parks Department for more details.
Lots of activities. Perfect. Okay, our next meeting is Wednesday, December 8th. In the meantime, we wish everybody a very happy and blessed Thanksgiving and happy shopping, whether it be on Friday or Cyber Monday or whatever they're calling it. So can we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
With no further
Excuse
business.
me. Sorry, yes.
The 22nd is what we plan to have that follow-up meeting in December.
December 8th and December 22nd.
Yes?
Oh, yes.
Somebody's here the 22nd.
Okay.
There's nobody here the 21st. Or we can do the senior center. I just need to finalize what we want to do, that Tuesday or Wednesday at the senior center.
I can do either. Trustee Seeley? You don't have a calendar.
I've already checked it. I would prefer that we stay here and be somewhat consistent in our difference.
So the 21st?
So the
Is
21st.
that good?
That's it.
Okay,
Trustee
so then,
Davis, that's fine.
just FYI, Tuesday the 21st.
December 21st will be after that. Okay. So with that being said.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock?
With no further business to be brought before this board, I move that we would adjourn.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes, yes. Again, happy Thanksgiving, happy shopping. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanksgiving trustees.